Well, let's get more now. We can speak to Raoof Hasan, the former assistant to the former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan, who joins us from Islamabad. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We've spoken before, in fact, about the issue of the incarceration of Imran Khan. I just want to pick up on something you've put on X, on the application formerly known as Twitter. You asked the question, how are we to respond to this unprovoked aggression? In India, they would say this wasn't unprovoked. This was the consequence of the Pahalgam attack in April. What do you see as the provocation?
Well, it is totally unprovoked. When Pahalgam happened, there were two things, that India should have listened to. Number one, we wanted some credible evidence, that they could have presented to us or to the international community regarding Pakistan's involvement. Or they could have joined an independent, transparent investigation into the incident. If they had opted for either of the two, we would have said, we would have come to the conclusion of it as to whether Pakistan was involved or Pakistan was not involved. We are not involved. We were not responsible for what happened at Pahalgam. But India, totally unprovoked, they refused to provide credible evidence with regard to Pakistan's involvement in this incident, and they also refused to join an independent investigation into the incident, so that the truth could unravel. So under the circumstances, there is absolutely nothing else that one could say that this assault has been totally unprovoked. Then there's another point here which I would like to make. Pakistan was accused within 10 minutes of the incident happening. Within 10 minutes, they had accused Pakistan of involvement. Now, is 10 minutes enough time for any country to conduct a comprehensive investigation into the details of the incident and those people who were involved? Absolutely not. So, if you are pointing a finger at Pakistan's direction and at Pakistan's involvement, within a space of 10 minutes after the incident had happened, it speaks of a premeditated mindset.
Okay, sir. Let me put this to you, though.
Another important.
Let me put this to you. You've already said it. You've said it also on X in one of your postings. You've said this was a false flag operation, what happened in Pahalgam. I mean, how can you be sure it was a false flag operation? What's your evidence?
What is a false flag operation? False flag operation, something that you orchestrate yourself.
Yes, but how do you know it's a false flag operation?
For what you actually want to do.
How can you be so sure?
In the absence of India agreeing to either of the two options, that I've already discussed with you, we can only refer to it as a false flag operation. India had operated with a premeditated mindset. They wanted to do this. They wanted to destabilize Pakistan. They wanted to accuse Pakistan of things that we're not responsible for. So, this is just one of those terms, that has been used in the post that you are referring to.
So you say India orchestrated this by itself. I mean, why would India do that? What would be their motive?
Well, India has been planning to, be the big brother of the region for a long time. And unfortunately, in this regard, it has had the support of some Western countries also in the larger game of containing China. And Pakistan is a bulwark in the achievement of that aim on the part of the Indian government and the state of India. Consequently, weakening Pakistan so that it is forced to give in to Indian hegemony in the region basically is one of the principal objectives of India's foreign policy. As I said, supported by some of the Western countries also. But being placed in this region, obviously, we have relations with other countries, and we have consistently taken the position that we will never accept India's hegemony in this part of the world. And this is something, which is not palatable for them. And they, from time to time, have indulged in adventurism. And this is the latest of the series of adventurisms that they have indulged in the last, 7.5 decades.
Would you say that the majority of people in Pakistan condemn what happened in Pahalgam?
Well, the government of Pakistan has condemned what happened in Pahalgam. My party and my leader, Imran Khan, has condemned what happened in Pahalgam. His tweet can be referred to in that context. We issued a statement, offering sympathies, with the bereaved families, But we also want an independent inquiry into the incident. We're not going to just take India's position on face value, because because what they say and what they do are two different things, and this is repeatedly, Pakistan has been a victim of that duplicity for a very long time. We still believe that, de-escalation is the way forward. We don't. Pakistan has repeatedly said, that we do not want to escalate. But unfortunately, in the last 48 hours, India has repeatedly assaulted Pakistan. There has been a rain of assaults in Pakistan today after yesterday's missile attacks. They have resorted to drones, and dozens of drones, have been felled in Pakistan, while others have hit some, habitations. So this is ongoing. There's a need to de-escalate, and I think Pakistan is quite willing. I'm sure by the statements that the government of Pakistan has released, I think they're quite willing to de-escalate. But unfortunately, what has happened today, the drone assaults, and then of course the counter assault by Pakistani forces, this is leading to escalation, which is not going to be good for the region, and even more importantly, this kind of tension between two nuclear armed states, can spell disaster.
Sure.
Bloodshed.
Sure. I mean, it could be devastating. Could be devastating for both countries. I mean, what is Pakistan's next move, sir?
Well, since we are not the aggressor, India is the aggressor here, I mean, we are only responding. We are only, under Article 51 of the UN Charter, we are only exercising our right to respond. So we are responding. If India stops attacking Pakistan, I don't think there will be any aggression from Pakistan's side.
But with regards to these militant groups that exist inside Pakistan, I mean, they clearly exist because your Prime Minister, Imran Khan, he tried to bring those groups under control, perhaps with limited success. So we can't deny the existence of these groups, can we?
Well, Pakistan has gone through multiple phases, and I think at this moment in time, as you and I talk, the existence of these groups, virtually is a story of the past, I think we have moved beyond that state. I don't think any of these groups now exist in Pakistan, as an organized whole. Yes, they have operated. They've been here before, but I can assure you, I have empirical evidence with me, that they have been dismantled, and they no longer exist, as organized wholes, which are capable of undertaking operations of the kind that happened in Pahalgam.
Well, India says they most certainly do exist. I think many in the United States are concerned they still exist. The Indian government would go even further and say the Pakistani government sponsors them and funds them. How do you tackle that kind of narrative?
Well, India has been saying it consistently. Something happens in India, everything, they have an issue within India, a political issue or an economic issue or a social issue or anything. They always pin the blame on Pakistan. This has become sickening. And I think, there must be an end to this. I think they should learn to tackle their problems, within themselves, rather than pointing a finger, always pointing an accusing finger in Pakistan's direction. It's a tradition. I think it must be discontinued now. I think they must learn.
Okay, you've also suggested online in the last 24 hours or so that the Prime Minister of Pakistan is being rather conspicuously silent in the last day or so. And I'm just wondering what you meant by that and what you think he should be doing and saying differently.
Well, you see, there are two kinds of war which are fought. Like the one that we're fighting at this moment in time. One is the war that is fought by the armed forces of the country, and the other is the war of optics, basically, and that is where leadership plays a very important role. Like when it happened in 2019, and Prime Minister Imran was leading the charge. He was all there as a leader. He led the charge. He led the people of Pakistan, and when he made that declaration, that we're not going to think of retaliating, we shall retaliate, and he did it. He was all there. He was a colossal presence, The Pakistani leadership has been totally absent from the scene today. There has been no statement made by Nawaz Sharif. There has been no statement coming from the presidency, which is Asif Zardari, and other statements have also been meek. So basically, it is the war of optics, that we unfortunately seem to be losing. On the battleground, that is the responsibility of the armed forces, So they're responding to every assault, that the Indians are undertaking. And I think that they've done a great job and they shall continue to do a great job. But this war of optics is the responsibility of the political leadership. And that is where I feel, where I'm certain that the leadership in Pakistan at this moment in time, which is not a legitimate and constitutional leadership, they lost the elections, which were won decisively by Imran Khan. Fortunately, they have been imposed in the country. So they do not have the support of the people. And they they have been conspicuously absent from the scene in the last 72 hours. They should have been there. They should have been there leading the charge. And unfortunately, no, they're not.
Mr. Hasan, obviously your allegiances lie with Imran Khan, I presume. I don't know if you're still in contact with him, even though he's in prison. But do you think any of this would have happened with him still in power? If he was Prime Minister, would we be in the situation we're in today?
Well, Imran Khan, the presence itself, it would have made a world of difference. He's there. He's a leader. He knows exactly how to command respect. And he has people's support. In the last election held on the 8th of February of last year, he had won 2/3 majority. Unfortunately, that majority was denied to him. So his very presence, it instills confidence, trust, and vibrancy among the people. So that is the difference between him and the rest of them. The rest of them are virtual pygmies in front of him. So, his presence would have been a great factor, like it was in 2019 when India last indulged in similar adventurism. His leadership, played a very major role in blunting the assault, both on the battleground as well as on the political ground.
Sure. I mean, obviously, Pakistan's economy has been in a difficult situation in recent years. I don't know whether the country can afford a full-scale war. Is that where you see things heading, nevertheless? Do you think we are on the brink of a full-scale war?
Well, it's very difficult to make a projection about it at this moment in time. But, the way the Indians have continued to attack Pakistan, it points to a larger game plan. And I'm sure it is going to unravel very soon, possibly tomorrow, in the next 24 to 48 hours, we will know exactly what are India's intentions, because we, as I said, we are only responding to their assaults. And we have to continue assaulting, we have to continue responding, we can't stop that. But I hope and pray that it does not get out of hand, because as I said earlier, two nuclear armed states, can actually, if this continues, and if God forbid, one of the countries has to take recourse to the use of these weapons, that can be absolutely disastrous, So I think wisdom must prevail on both sides. Sanity must prevail on both sides. And I think, a lot of responsibility would also rest on the countries, which are trying to mediate. The Americans are there. The countries in the Gulf are there. They're all trying to play a role. They're all trying to sort of cool things down. But unfortunately, let me make this point here that, India has not been criticized the way it should have been criticized, because India is the aggressor. And India has not agreed to either providing credible evidence, as I said earlier, or joining an independent investigation into the incident. So I think India should have been criticized for not undertaking any of these two options, and instead resorting to naked, unprovoked aggression.
Okay.
So this is what kind of propels them to continue indulging in this adventurism again and again and again. And I think the world must have to seek parity between India and Pakistan, because that is the only way to maintain peace in this region.
I mean, how real do you think the risk is, therefore, of all-out war? I mean, does it feel where you are in Pakistan that that's the direction things are heading in?
Well, there is a possibility of an all-out war, like in the, gauging by what has happened in the last 48 hours. I think, there's a lot to be concerned about. The whole day today, the drones were falling in one part or the other of the country. It has not left a good impression behind. Obviously there's fear among the people. Some people, I think, have a couple of people have died also, and some people have been hurt. And the counter assault by Pakistan, of course, has left much devastation in India also. And if this continues, and it continues escalating, as I believe that in the last 24 hours, things have escalated, and if that scale of escalation continues, then this is a real prospect, of a full-scale outbreak of war. And that nobody would desire. I would not desire that. My country would not desire that. My leadership, my party, nobody would desire that. I don't think war is it leads to any solutions. If Pakistan and India have outstanding issues, they have to sit across the table. And it's here again where India refuses to sit across the table with Pakistan. It is not Pakistan that refuses to sit across the table with India. So it is India's intransigence, which unfortunately has compounded problems in the last so many years. They refuse to engage with Pakistan. Pakistan is always willing to engage with India. So, I think the world must focus on India. The world must begin to focus on India's unwillingness to resolve issues, outstanding issues, in a peaceful manner. That is that is a key element to the continuation of this fratricide.
All right, Mr. Hasan. We're nearly out of time. Obviously these issues, some of them date back the best part of 80 years. Let's just look at the situation we're in today. 30 seconds, if you will. What's your message to India? What would you like to tell the leadership in India?
Simple. Sit across the table and talk to Pakistan. You will ultimately have to talk to Pakistan. You can't finish Pakistan. Okay. Sit across the table. Let sanity take over.
All right, and talk it out. Okay, well, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed. We really appreciate your analysis and your comment. Raoof Hasan, thank you very much indeed for your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you.